Cool. Well, I'll just dive right in to show you how I incorporate it into both our products at Mighty Cricut, but also what I do at home to cook crickets, because they are, there's so many applications for the protein powder. So this is just our pure protein powder. And then we also have a chocolate and vanilla protein powder that you can mix with water. And we just launched our hemp protein powder too. So the hemp and the Cricut flour, those are pure, unflavored protein products. And then at Mighty Cricut, we sell our oatmeals. We have three different flavors of that. But for the Cricut flour, what's interesting about that is that it tastes nutty. So it has notes of like sesame or pistachio and mushroom. So it works really well in savory applications, but it also works really great with chocolate. So I'm going to show you three different things I think I have planned here. And I was racing home from physical therapy, so I haven't pulled out all my ingredients yet. I didn't get to finish that. So bear with me as I get organized. But the first thing that I wanted to show you was a new recipe that I made with tea. So it's a protein tea. And I used our vanilla protein powder and mixed it with steeped tea. So this one's called Banana Luna Nut. And this brand is Sunrise Tea. This woman who's actually moving here, she's part of Venture for America. And she came to that dog treat, Native Pets. And so she's the founder of and gave me some of her tea. So what I am going to do first is just steep a teaspoon of this tea, and you can use really any tea that would lend itself well to vanilla powder. I'm going to steep it in some water. So I'll do about 2 ounces of water to a teaspoon of the tea to make a really strong brew. And then from there, we serve it over ice with some milk or almond milk. I like almond milk. And it becomes this delicious protein tea. Now, anytime as I'm showing you various things that I like to do with the crickets, feel free to ask any questions about how crickets are grown or just whatever you have. I love asking questions. So let me see this chat here. Oh, okay. Thanks for the tip, Mary.
Yeah, they're really good. I have to go to the natural grocery store over on Morganford and get some more.
Yeah, we also sell it online too.
Local Harvest. I can never remember their name.
Local Harvest, that's right.
Local Harvest. I like to pick stuff up rather than waiting for the mail, because who knows who's going to steal stuff out of our mailroom in the building.
Oh, you have that problem.
Yeah, or trying to find it under stacks and stacks of stuff nobody's picked up yet.
Yeah, I've experienced that too.
Sarah, this is Davia. Just a heads up, your Remo table will be table 5 for cooking with crickets after this.
Okay, so what do I do? Do I just stay on this Zoom thing? Or...
I'll get you all together towards the end.
Okay.
I followed that Remo link and it wants me to put in a password, which stopped me cold.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do while tea steeps is make a Cricut Curry. So I really like adding the Cricut flour to savory applications, like I said. And one of the easiest things to do is just add it to any sort of sauce. So here I just bought like a pre-made curry sauce just for convenience and ease. And basically it's just mixing the Cricut flour in with the sauce and a pot of vegetables. So I like to make my veggies from scratch, like cook them from scratch, or cook them from raw, but you can always get frozen vegetables and just throw them in a pot or the microwave, add your curry sauce, add the Cricut flour, and you're good to go for a quick, easy, healthy meal. That's one of my secret tricks for making a really flavorful dish without a whole lot of work.
Sarah, does the Cricut flour have a thickening aspect to it? Does it help make a sauce thicker, or is it just sort of there?
It's not glutinous like a flour is, but it will thicken.
Okay, sort of like a cornstarch or something?
Oh, it's definitely not as much of a thickening agent.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more like a hemp protein powder, if you've ever worked with that.
Okay. I didn't know hemp had protein in it.
Oh yeah, hemp is. Our powder is 50% protein in the hemp.
Oh.
And
I thought hemp was like a leafy green, and you know, like if it's a legume, then you get protein from that, but I didn't realize you could get protein out of hemp.
yeah, hemp is pretty amazing. And it's also carbon negative, which is one of the reasons why we started carrying it at Mighty Cricut, is because of its environmental impact. And Mighty Cricut was founded on trying to find next generation proteins that can sustain the world through 2050, when we surpass 9.5 billion people on the planet. We're at 7.5 billion people right now. So the whole food world is trying to figure out how to feed 2 billion more people, and we're already tapped out of resources. Like, the world has lost a third of its arable land in the past 40 years, and that has not slowed down. Crickets require less land than any other protein source, like peas, beef, chicken. So in terms of land usage, it's a really great insect or protein source. So first I added onions. Now I'm going to add some carrots to it.
Sarah, you have a question. Someone said, I am in the UK. From where do I get the flour?
There are a few companies I know of in Europe that sell Cricut flour. We don't ship to the UK right now just because it's so expensive. But look up why. It's called an insect, but with a Y instead of an I at the beginning. They might have Cricut flour, and then you can also look up Sense, SENS, and those both are European countries or companies. So let's see. Crickets, in addition to requiring a fraction of land, also require like a fraction of water. So to produce a pound of almonds requires 2,000 gallons of water, and to produce a pound of beef requires 1,800 gallons of water. But to produce a pound of crickets, and this is all pound for pound of protein, it only requires 1 gallon of water. And much of the world is pretty much in a water crisis. Like, fresh water is not very accessible. Here in Missouri, we tend not to think about water because we're next to this giant river, and we have plenty of water access, but it's very much a concern for a lot of people around the world. So that's another reason that makes Cricut so sustainable. Okay, so I have onions, carrots. Now I'm adding broccoli. I'm just making sure my screen can be set so that it's good. What other questions do you guys have? Oh, now I'm hearing crickets. I love my bug jokes. One that I commonly get is how to raise crickets. So crickets are grown on cricket farms, and in the US, there are just a handful of farms. Most of the farms are in Thailand and Vietnam and like Southeast Asian countries where they've been doing crickets the longest. Also in Mexico, crickets date back all the way to Aztec culture in Mexico. So and it seems like insects have gotten a resurgence in Mexico lately. Eskimolays, which are like ant eggs, so ant caviar, are showing up on menus in fancy restaurants, and I heard it's delicious. I've never had them before, but I really want to try. Silkworms are common in China, and I heard they taste really buttery naturally, and the outside is very crispy because they'll deep fry them, and on the inside is consistency of mashed potatoes. And when you think about that in terms of an insect, it might sound gross, but if you think of it just like not thinking about an insect, but just like, it kind of sounds like a French fry, and to me that sounds delicious. So I'm super interested in trying that too. The only other bugs I've tried have been beehive with the bee larvae, ants, crickets, grasshoppers, and mealworms. And mealworms I really like. Okay, I'm gonna grab a few other ingredients I need to complete this dish. Okay, this right here is just some of my Cricut flour in a plastic container. So as soon as this gets, everything gets steamed up and all the vegetables are soft, then I'm gonna add in the sauce and the crickets. And it's pretty much that simple because we only sell finely milled Cricut flour. And this is what it looks like. So you can see, you're not gonna see any antennas, no legs, no wings. It's all very finely milled. So you can blend it undetected into delicious foods. You won't even tell, but it does add this like nuttiness, earthiness to it that really complements mushrooms. So if I had mushrooms, I'd definitely put it in here. And our protein powder is 70% protein and 100% vitamin B12 per serving. So a serving is 2 tablespoons, and within that you get 10 grams of protein. Okay, I'm gonna put a lid on this, and I'm cooking this with a little bit of olive oil over medium heat. And I'll just continue to let that simmer. And now we have our tea here, and I'm gonna strain the tea into a tall glass of ice. So where I left off was talking about Cricut farms. Most of the farms, like I said, are in Thailand, but they're starting to pop up. There's some that grow for human consumption. Here in the US, there are like 3. But in Canada, there's starting to be a big surge in that. So that's been pretty interesting. Okay, so here we have some tea. This one is banana luna nuts. So it's made with banana and chestnuts and cocoa nibs. The ingredients just sounded to me like it would go well with probably our chocolate protein powder. So I'm gonna get that. And I just moved, put like totally, put all my stuff away and forgot where I put it. So I'm gonna dig around for a quick minute to see where I can find my chocolate protein powder. boy.
If anyone has questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I will read them to Sarah.
Ah, found it. This is the vanilla one, but vanilla will do. Yeah, I'm still, you know, organizing my life. Moving is never fun. But I'm enjoying the space. It's the funny thing about coronavirus is there's really been a surge in the housing market. When you have people who are like now home all the time and they realize they just don't have enough space. Oh, this is starting to smell really good.
Sarah, we have some newcomers, so can you talk us through the dishes?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so cooking in the pot here is right now it's a vegetable mixture. I have I'm making a stir fry, so Cricut Curry is the name of that dish. And the veggies that I'm using, you can use whatever, but I just decided to use carrots, onions, broccoli as the veggie base, and then I'm going to add the Cricut flour and the curry to it. And then what I'm doing here is making a beverage with our vanilla protein powder. And it's a protein tea, which I tried the other day and it was phenomenal. I'm gonna rinse this out real quick. And I never thought to add protein powder to tea, but it was really, really good. So what I did was brewed a really strong tea, like 2 ounces of water with a teaspoon of tea leaves. And then I added, I steeped that and then poured it over a glass of ice. So it's chilling now. And then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of our vanilla protein powder, which is a blend of hemp, upcycled sunflower, and our Cricut flour. As I was saying, how hemp is carbon negative. Upcycled sunflower is this cool product that takes the leftovers from pressed sunflower seeds and makes a flour out of it that is, I think it's 39% protein, and then it's really high in fiber and a few other nutrients like omega-3s, I believe. You can look on the website at the nutrition label because we sell the upcycled sunflower flour too, just plain. And then I'm mixing the vanilla protein powder blend with some almond milk. And I'm going to pour it into the tea over the ice. And then it just becomes this delicious vanilla and whatever tea flavor that you chose. So just discovered that drink the other day and I was really excited because it's so good. Let's see, are there any food allergy issues? Yes, there are. Absolutely. This is pretty interesting. So crickets can trigger a crustacean shellfish allergen. And so if you're allergic to crustacean shellfish, I don't recommend giving it a try because it seems like most people who have that allergen are sensitive to crickets. Now, there's not, the FDA doesn't have like a specific insect allergen category yet. So on the label itself, it won't say anything, but on our products, we do say, just for the safety of our customers, like if you have a shellfish crustacean allergen, we don't recommend this product. But other than that, our products are soy-free, egg-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, and peanut-free. We use some coconut, but we don't use any other tree nuts. And so for all of those other common allergens, this is a really great alternative. Okay. So the last ingredient that I like to add to the stir fry is some bell pepper. And I always add it last just so that it stays nice and crispy and doesn't get mushy, as the other vegetables take longer to cook. The other thing about moving is I'm, you know, as a former chef and in the last house I lived in, I was using gas, and now I'm switching to an electric stove, which is completely different. And I've already burned like pancakes this morning. I was making Cricut pancakes actually. I burned those. Okay. So the next thing, we have our veggies all cooked down, and then we just add, this is a jarred curry, which is really convenient. You can get it open. It's really convenient, I find, to use jarred curry rather than to get all of those spices and create curry from scratch, which I do sometimes. But it's so simple just to get a jar and then add it to your stir fry. So I add that, and then lastly, I add the crickets. And really, the Cricut flour you can add kind of as much or as little as you want. I just sprinkle it over, you know, and then taste it, make sure it doesn't throw off the flavors in any way. And then if it gets too thick, as Mary was asking, if like, you know, our Cricut's a thickener, it's not really a thickener like cornstarch, but it does make for a thicker sauce. Then all you have to do is add a little bit of water to it to thin it down. Okay. And then I usually serve this over jasmine rice. And that's our stir fry. Pretty simple. And like I said, if you use frozen vegetables, then you can make this dish within like 3 minutes. It's really, you can make it in the microwave too. It's really easy. So this is what it looks like. Just all stir together. A really easy, simple one-pot meal. Okay. So that's that application. And then we have our Cricut tea. And so we have a savory application. We have a tea application that's sweet because our protein powder is sweetened with monk fruit, which doesn't add really any calories. It's just one of those really great, all natural, delicious sweeteners. And then the third dish that I'm going to show you is a really fun, healthier dessert that you could even use for a breakfast. And my daughter doesn't eat chicken, so this is what I make for her to get her to eat protein. And it just tastes really good. So it's a mousse that I like to make with coconut cream. So finding my coconut cream, where is it? Here it is. Okay. So some grocery stores carry coconut cream in a can, but the store I was at yesterday didn't have coconut cream. They only had coconut milk. So what I do is just scoop off the cream from the top of the can of the coconut milk. And so I'll chill this over I don't know, 8 hours or overnight in the refrigerator, and that way it's cold. So I'll show you what I mean by scooping the cream off the top. And I've also tried this recipe with soft, like extra soft, and then, or just soft tofu, which is delicious. And it's really surprising that tofu makes a good mousse, but if you get really soft, creamy tofu, then it works out well. But I try to limit soy in general, so I'm still working on a recipe that doesn't have as much saturated fat as coconut milk does, but also doesn't have soy, just because soy is, I don't know, it can mess with hormones if you eat too much of it. So I'm still working on perfecting that recipe. But this is hard cream that forms on top. I don't know if there's too much of a light glare you can see, but that forms on the top of the coconut cream. Woo! You just scoop off that hard top, and then underneath it is the coconut milk. So you want to use full fat coconut milk, otherwise it won't have this much cream on top, and this cream is really what makes the mousse. This is our sweet application of the Cricut flour, but it's kind of like a healthier sweet dessert. And then the rest of the milk, I just save in a container for other uses, like basically it's coconut water at this point without the chunks of cream. And you can bake it into breads, you can make a beverage out of it like lemonade. Look up Pinterest ideas of what to use with coconut water, and it'll pull up a ton. Okay. And I like to focus on really simple, easy recipes because, you know, we're all busy. I used to be a chef and make very complex dishes, but it's just not practical with most people. So I focus on trying to limit it to speedy shortcuts or recipes that lend itself to just a few ingredients, and then try and just do it with a healthy spin on it. So that's my whole approach to food. So to that, we're going to add some cocoa powder. And I put this recipe on my website, and I have a curry recipe on my website, mightycricut.co, not .com, because .com was taken and not used, which really irritates me. So if you go to mightycricut.co and click on the recipes tab, you can scroll down and find these exact proportions. I know some people just eyeball it like I do, and other people need very precise measurements. And in the moment, I never really take time to measure. I just kind of go by visual and taste. I think my whisk is dirty, so I'm just gonna use a spoon, but woo. It's good to use like, if you have a hand mixer, then you can really whip this up and get good light air incorporated into the mousse. Otherwise, you can just use good old muscle power. So I combined the cream at the top of the coconut milk with, I did about a tablespoon and a half of cocoa powder. And then you can do sweetener of choice. I really like stevia. I know for some people that gives astringency and they can't get over it. Monk fruit is also great, or you can use sugar, but I go for the healthier natural sugar alternatives.
I want to ask, what is monk fruit?
Monk fruit, it's a fruit that comes from, I think it's most popularly grown in Vietnam. And there it's called Lo Gun Son or something like that. Totally butchered that. But it's a natural fruit, and it's like stevia in that it's super, super sweet. So you just get a very little bit. And it doesn't have the astringency aftertaste of stevia. So that's why we opted for monk fruit for all of our products to sweeten with. Because it's great. It gets that sweet, satisfying deliciousness that you want in like a dark chocolate oatmeal, but you don't have the sugar from it. So our oatmeals are actually 33% less sugar than leading brands. And I'm even working on ways to cut that sugar down even more. So then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of our Cricut flour to this mousse. Now I've experimented with much higher proportions, and for me, like, I'll go pretty high with my Cricut powder because I'm trying to make this into like a healthy morning breakfast food for my daughter that's high in protein. But the more you go, the more you're going to start to notice that like kind of not, it's more like a kind of grainy texture to it. Even though our Cricuts are milled pretty finely, you'll just experience the textural changes, and it goes from being that like super creamy, light, mouthy feel of mousse to something that's just a little bit more grainy. Okay, so like I said, normally you can use a hand mixer to incorporate lots of air, but I'm not doing that because it's really loud and it's hard to hear. Yeah, that's it. Lu Han Gu. Maybe it's very common in China too. Apparently Mark said that. But I've always seen it in Vietnam when I was traveling there. And so I did a tablespoon. You can do 2, even 3 tablespoons if you want. And then, what's it missing? Salt. I like to add a little bit of salt to everything. Even my, I even put salt in my smoothies. But I have very low blood pressure. So salt for me is my friend. I know for some people, they have to, watch their salt intake. And so that's that. Put it in a cute little glass. Ooh, this one. And this is our Cricut Mousse. Like I said, you can make it with super soft soy or tofu. It's fun. And then you can do fun toppings like shredded coconut or cocoa nibs or whatnot. Berries. I'll put strawberries on top for my daughter. And you get kind of a healthier mousse. What time is it? 3:35. Wow. I just made 3 recipes in 35 minutes. That's pretty awesome. So that just shows you the versatility and the ease of cooking with Cricuts. Once you get over that initial mental block, it becomes super second nature to just like pick up some Cricut tea and start drinking it. And it's really good. So I hope that gives you an idea of all of the dishes that you can make with Cricut flour. And now I'd like to take some more questions for you.